Hello and welcome to a Homespun house. My name is Molly and I am the creative behind a Homespun house. I am looking forward to chatting with you a bit about all of the things that I have been making, which this week is knitting, like almost all other weeks, in this episode. The first thing that I have been creating is my little cabins pullover. I don't think this is one that I have pulled out for a little while. This is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. I cast this on quite a while ago. It's very, very early in the morning. It's 6:30 this morning and the birds are awake and they're happy and singing. So you probably will hear quite a bit of them in this episode. So when I cast this on, it was really, really good going. I knit the entire body of this pullover in a few days' time. I was really, really enjoying it. I'm knitting this out of a Homespun house yarn in our merino cashmere nylon base. It's a 70% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And I believe this pattern calls for worsted weight yarn, but I'm using Aran weight yarn. And I'm using size 7mm needles, which gives me the exact gauge that I want for the body of the pullover, and size 6.5 for any sort of ribbing. And I will use that size or even a 6mm on the yoke, which I'll talk about when I get to that. So the body has been finished for a while. I think this is pretty much all that I had last time we spoke, and this was very simple, quite a lot of bauble making. I love the little cabins, as the pattern name calls it, at the bottom. I think they're very, very sweet. And I am knitting the small with the Aran weight yarn. I think this will be a little bit large, which is definitely what I'm looking for. And I'm really loving it. It's very, very soft naturally with the cashmere. So that's the body. I was very excited when that was finished. And then pretty much immediately, I cast on the sleeve because it's a bottom-up pullover. So you cast on the sleeves as soon as you get to the underarm. And I was knitting these with Knit Pro rosewood needles, which I really do enjoy. Those are one of my favorite Knit Pro interchangeable needle sets. I enjoy them so much. However, I have really become a Haya convert, and Hayas are definitely my favorites. So the sleeve was absolutely not working as a magic loop project. I don't like knitting sleeves magic loop anyway, but the rosewood needles just weren't working. My stitches were too tight. They weren't sliding effortlessly from the cable onto the needle. So then I switched them onto the Hayas, thinking my gauge might change a little bit, which isn't necessarily something that I wanted, because I know when knitting magic loop, your gauge can change a lot, but especially when you're changing needles for projects, your gauge can change a lot. That didn't work either. My stitches also weren't gliding effortlessly on the Hayas. So Haya currently, at least where I can order, does not have 8-inch double point needles available. There are just the 6-inch in stock. 8-inch are available. They weren't in stock anywhere where I could find. So I'm knitting my sleeve on 6-inch double points. And to be honest, it is working up great. When I first received these, I thought, oh my, these are very short. They're a little bit heavy. How are these going to work? And they are a bit heavy, but it doesn't bother me at all. I think because they're so short, I think the 8 inches would have been way too heavy, bulky. They would have just got in the way. So I think that this was, to be honest, a happy mistake. I'm enjoying knitting these on the 6-inch needles. If I was a person who enjoyed 9-inch circs, I probably would use that on the sleeve. I do think the increasing on this sleeve is very, very strange here. Even as I was reading the pattern and reading the increases, I was thinking the entire time, I have never seen a sleeve increase this way. I really, really, really enjoy Caitlin Hunter's designs. I think they're all very, very beautiful. I haven't knit a garment out of her designs yet, so we will see how it turns out and how it looks. I haven't knit many Caitlin Hunter designs at all, to be honest. I've just knit the Kobu Cat. I own quite a bit of her patterns. I believe she had a birthday sale a while back and I purchased quite a handful. This among all of them. And I'm excited to have this finished. I feel like the weather is perfect. The weather everywhere seems to not know what it wants to do, but yesterday we had 28 degrees. It was about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 28 degrees Celsius. It was so warm and nice. And when it's around that sort of a weather, especially, 25, I can wear a pullover. So I had this on yesterday when I was outside. I'm a person who's generally quite chilly, where most people in 28 degree weather are wearing not a pullover. I am somebody who is, because I'm cold and I feel perfectly comfortable. So this is actually a cotton pullover or cardigan. I did not make it. So I think a merino cashmere probably would be too warm in 28 degree weather or 80 degree Fahrenheit. So I am enjoying this. I'm looking forward to having both of the sleeves finished. I'm looking forward to having the entire pullover finished. This is a knit that I am enjoying, but I do think that this is a little bit more of a product knit than a process knit, which I don't know if that's the way that my knits generally are. I feel like I'm very much a 50-50 product process knitter, but I'm really enjoying this. And I knit the cuff on quite small needles because I really wanted it to cup my cuff nicely and not be one that pulls over my hands. I don't like that. I like my sleeves to stay right where they are and maybe just go over my palm a little bit, but definitely I don't like oversized sleeves. So this will be one that I will have to pay close attention to and make sure that the fit is right. Having said that though, because I am making this a little bit oversized, it might be nice to have the sleeves a little bit larger. So yeah, I am enjoying this. I'm very happy to pick it up because I thought that I had fallen out of love with knitting this. And I just decided to knit on it yesterday after having set it down for a week or so. And I'm finding that I'm really enjoying it. I think when I got these needles on the 6-inch, it really set me back when I saw how indeed short they were and imagining knitting a sleeve on 4 heavy 7mm, I think it's a size 11 US needle. I have this in the Fawn and the Fox Progress project bag, which is made by Lara, who is pregnant and is seriously one of the most adorable pregnant women I've ever seen. So beautiful. Pregnancy is definitely a good look on you, Lara. By the way, Lara, I miss your podcast dearly. So the next cast on is a new one. You haven't seen it, but I have made a lot of progress on this project. So I am knitting the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas socks by my amazing friend, Danny George. She has been coming out with so many fantastic sock patterns. I believe she has 4 right now. And I can definitely see casting on another one, but let's talk about the ones that I'm knitting right now. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Every year Danny does a Christmas Eve cast on, and this was a very special design that she came out with for the Christmas Eve cast on, but I definitely believe that it's a pattern that can be knitted all times of year. It's can have a Christmassy interpretation, but it also can have an every day sort of interpretation. It has these beautiful pine, this pine running down the edge of the sock. And then when you open up the sock or when you're wearing it, you see it's a little bit difficult to show naturally because these haven't been blocked, this trunk of the tree running down from the pine at the top, and it goes all the way to the tip of the foot. I'm knitting these socks in the Juniper colorway, which is a Homespun house yarn on our DK weight 75/25 superwash merino. nylon yarn, and while I don't have any DK weight of juniper in the shop, I have quite a variety of all other bases and fingering weight yarns in the shop for those of you who are looking for it. So this is the first sock finished, and the second sock, and all ends are woven in, so I feel pretty good about myself in that regard. And this one doesn't have the ends woven in yet. And I'm knitting these on Haya Sharps 3mm needles, because again, this is a DK weight yarn. And I posted these on Instagram, and I had quite a bit of people asking me how many stitches I cast on for these socks. I would recommend either a 48 or 50 stitch count. For myself, definitely a 48 for DK weight yarn. Of course, gauge matters. Now I'm just working down the toe. I'm using Haya Sharps, and these are 8 inches. I didn't have 3mm in 6-inch, but they're definitely fine. These, because they aren't that bulky of a needle, they're not getting in the way. And I have a Simply Serving little rock pet progress keeper on there. I'm using it as a stitch marker because it's one of the clasps that you can use for both. It's not a really small lobster clasp, so it works really great for that. And yesterday I was knitting away on these, just really flying by the seat of my pants, enjoying, and I probably knit this much after the heel, so pretty much what I have right now. And I had knit the trunk 3 rows away from where it was supposed to be. That was not a happy mistake, so I set it aside, and then I thought to myself, if you don't rip this out now, it is going to be sitting and sitting, and who knows when you're going to finish it. So I ripped it out, put the needles in. I thought that I would set it back in my project bag, but because I love these socks so much, I sat and I knit on them, and I knit up to here, so I'm basically now back to where I was, which feels really great. I'm happy that I ripped it out right away. So I can definitely see, like I mentioned before, I love Danny George's sock patterns. And I can definitely see casting on her Cyril socks next in her Vintage Love Story series. Yesterday, she just came out with the 3rd and final pair of socks in her Vintage Love Story series. I believe it's called the Forever and Always socks, and they're absolutely stunning. In her sock patterns, she always includes just a little, kind of a small story anecdote about the characters or what happened and in their lives, creating the theme or name of the socks. And I really have been enjoying that series. So it's been really nice to have the 3rd and final pattern come and bring that series to a conclusion. So I definitely recommend checking them out. Her patterns are brilliantly written, and they're absolutely stunning. So the Cyril socks will definitely be a cast on that I will be doing soon. It looks quite simple, so something that's very mindless to knit. I have finished, sort of, my Nora's skirt that I am making for Ruby for her birthday. So I knit these on Haya 2.5 and 3mm needle in Haya Sharp. And so here is the skirt. It is definitely not blocked, and the reason for that is because I have this hem here that needs to be folded over and seamed inside, and then at the bottom it's the same thing. You have a hem, whoops, there's a hem that needs to be seamed to the inside, and I think that was a really great feature so that your skirt doesn't roll in on itself, and just to weigh it down a little bit. So I still have to do that, and that's why I have this massive piece of yarn here so that I can go around and seam it at the bottom. When I podcasted last time, I mentioned that I really wished that the pattern writer had written that as you're cast on, you should leave a very long piece of yarn so that you can seam it, but they didn't. However, at the bottom, they remembered to write that. So I have a very long piece of yarn for seaming at the bottom. I don't know why they didn't write that as a cast on at all. I don't know why. But anyway, so this is finished. This is in a homespun house. Again, our MCN yarn in our fingering weight yarn. And this is our velvet colorway. It's really, really beautiful. So as I'm pulling that out and saying that I am finished with it almost, I'm realizing that I have not knit the suspenders on that. I'm also a little bit fearful of this project because Ruby's birthday is in mid-May, and seeing as how warm the weather has been, I am worrying, which I know is kind of a pointless emotion, but I am pondering the fact that it could be very, very warm on her birthday, and she may not be able to wear her birthday skirt. So I was and am going to make a short sleeve shirt to wear under that. I'm sewing one out of some gorgeous fabric, an organic jersey that I showed in the last episode. But I'm wondering if it would make more sense to sew her a dress. I've already knit this skirt and I would love for her to have it and wear on her birthday. I could always sew her a t-shirt and a dress as well, in case, you know, it's too warm, or even save the skirt for later for Christmas or something like that. And just sew a dress as maybe a backup. so I can decide what to give her on that day. I'm feeling like that's probably a pretty good idea. But it's one that I should sew up soon because her birthday is in about 3 weeks. So the final thing that I've been working on are Robert's socks, and I've knit quite a bit on these, which is really exciting because, as you guys have seen, he has massive feet. These have been curled up in my bag. So here is the leg of the sock, and here is the foot of the sock. So this is knit in forest, or no, this is woods. This is very, very similar to juniper. This is a one-of-a-kind skein of yarn. It was offered in one of our sock sets. This is Frida, also a one-of-a-kind. And this is Slaptastic, which is not a one-of-a-kind, but it is one that is very, very rarely in the shop. It is a navy copper-like colorway. So first sock is finished. It really looks like a stocking. It is so big. And I am currently working on the second pair of socks. So I did not have enough of this woods colorway, but I think that's definitely fine. It didn't bother me to knit the rib, the cuff. So I just joined Frida in and continuing knitting the leg. I'm looking forward to these being finished. Not that I'm not enjoying them, but they're just so... My needle fell down. They're just so big. But it's nice that I'm knitting it with the 3 different yarns. That definitely mixes it up a bit. But yeah, they're an easy one to pick up when I'm bringing the girls to bed or having a car ride, something really simple like that. So I'm knitting these out of Zings, which I absolutely adore. I know the Legacy Knits girls have been talking about them quite a bit lately, and I really, really enjoy the Zing double points as well. I'm using 2mm Zings and a 72 stitch count for those socks. A new cast on, I actually have 2 new cast ons that I really want to cast on soon. Last episode I mentioned that I want to make some leg warmers for the girls, and I have a new colorway called Indie. And I love this colorway. So I have it here on Soft Sock. It's just so absolutely stunning. It's one of my favorite speckles ever. I'm thinking about using the Indie Mohair. Quite a bit of the speckles are hidden inside of this skein. That's what happens with skein up yarns. You lose the speckles, so you have to really open them up and explore their insides. which sounds a bit morbid, but it's not, I promise. And a skein of fresh sheets in our Dale DK. So I'm considering making a pair of leg warmers out of these. I think it will be absolutely beautiful, but I would like to get one project off of my needles. I feel like I've really, really minimized my projects. The 4 that I've shown you are all of the projects that I have on my needles. I don't have bags of projects in hiding places. That is what is on my needles, other than my Granny Stripe blanket and my Cozy Memories blanket, which isn't on the needles. That's one that we actually use, and I probably will pick up and knit when the craving strikes. But yeah, so I really would like to cast something off, finish something before I cast these on. However, I do have plans, very, very soon plans, of casting a new project on. And I want to knit the shawl by Stephen West for Versites Unite. And I have this color palette. I don't know how well you can see it right here, but I watched Christy Glass, her interview with Lindsay Deegan. I adore Christy Glass, by the way, as a side note. I enjoy everything that she puts out. She's just really, really fantastic. I feel like there could not be a better person in the knitting world to do interviews, to put out the content that she puts out. I think she is so great. She had an interview with Lindsay Deegan. I was so inspired by this interview. Lindsay knits and creates so many things with this sort of a color palette exactly. And I named a colorway after Lindsay Deegan. This is a color that she uses in so many things. This beautiful, just pop of blue. It's this really, really bright blue. And I call this colorway Deegan after Lindsay. I think it's such a great last name, but I also think it's the perfect name for this colorway. So my Versites Unite is going to have Deegan. It's going to have Peony. It's going to have this color, which is called Whale Belly. I had a colorway quite a while back called Whale Belly, which was a very, very light coral, quite similar to this, which I'm not dyeing anymore. So I really wanted to rebirth that name in this colorway and call it Whale Belly. And then my 4th color is Sunny. So this yellow. And I think this is going to make the most stunning Versites Unite. I can't wait to knit it. I'm knitting this out of our Dale yarn, which is 100% non-superwash organic merino. There's no museling in the merino that I'm using. So I can't wait to knit this up. It will be one that I'm casting on, I imagine, before we see each other next. And kits for these will be up in the shop this week. So all of the kits will be the same exact colorway, the same exact base. They're all dyed up and ready for you guys to go. I just need to photograph them. Can you hear this bird singing in my ear? He's so sweet. But he's sidetracking me. And the girls and I, we had so much fun yesterday looking out, just sitting on the balcony watching the birds. Ruby was admiring them a lot. I'm really, really looking forward to knitting my Versites Unite in those colorways. Had I not seen that interview, I would have never thought about putting them together, but as I saw it, my mind was just creating this palette. I've been wanting to knit the Versites Unite for so long. And watching Lindsay just made my creative juices start flowing, and I thought, yes, I need to put those colors together desperately. I also could see adding a light pink in there, or even fresh sheets. I think that could be a really, really great 5th colorway as well. I'm toying with mixing Mohair with it, which is another reason why it has been put on hold, because I haven't quite decided if I want to add Mohair to the mix in that shawl. And I think I'm going to knit the large version. I haven't decided yet. The large version looks like it is quite similar to the Marled Magic size, and that is a massive, massive shawl. So we'll see. On the subject of mohair, I have quite a bit of mohair in the shop. I think mohair is such a fantastic texture to add to any of your knits. All of my mohair is lace weight. It is 70% kid mohair and 30% silk. It is to the neck soft. It is something that you can definitely add to your knits. It won't bother you. You can use it in very sensitive areas, I find. So I wanted to share with you some of the mohairs that I currently have in stock at homespunhouse.com. I have Jello, Blackberry Jam, Dewdrop. These colors are just gorgeous together. Minty, Let's Hold Hands. This one's really, really sweet too. And then I have Swamp House. There's so many different pairings that you can do. Just for different shawls of different colorways you can put together. I think most of these I have available on tonals as well. I think that these would look great with fresh sheets on various bases. There are so many different colors that you can mix these with when making hats, shawls. I just love adding a strand, even pullovers. The featherweight cardigan would look so fantastic with a tonal or even a speckled yarn, and then with, for example, one of these tonals on top, or a tonal yarn and then one of these speckled mohairs on top. I think that would just be a perfect pairing. You could do something like sugared sweeties with Dewdrop, or you could do sugared sweeties with Jello. You could even do sugared sweeties with Minty. I think Minty would look great with Obladi, which is a new springtime colorway. I went on and on about this in my last podcast. This was the one actually that I thought that I would pair with the leg warmers for the girls. Obladi, it's a Beatles song. Love it. So that's Obladi. You guys already saw Sugared Sweeties. You already saw Indie. Oh, this one just makes my heart sing beyond reason. This is perfect. I have Early Riser, which has definitely been a customer favorite. Skinny Dipping. Perfect time for summer. Bright, vibrant colors. Collins. This one is the perfect mix for any shawl. A plain pair of socks. I feel like when you're knitting any sort of 3-color shawl, 2-color shawl, this one is always a great one to add to the mix. And we have Don't Kill My Vibe, which is a Sigrid song. Highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite songs at the moment. Fantastic. So those are just some of the colorways in the shop. I do have some sock sets that I've added to the shop. I don't know if I showed some to you last week, but I'm just going to show a small handful of what's in there. We have Neon and Spandex sock set. That one's available on Plump Merino. We have Shout It Out on Soft Sock. This one is super classic and beautiful looking. We have Sam and Gilly, which is just the couple that I love from Game of Thrones. I love them. They're so sweet. And then we have Saffron Skies. Beautiful. We currently have Harry Potter club listings up for sale at a Homespun house. And this Harry Potter club is very different than all of the other Harry Potter clubs that we've done. It's quite the same, but it's also different as well, like I said, in the fact that because we're moving to America, you will be getting all 3 shipments in one. This will save you on 2 different months of shipping. You're just paying one one shipping price, which a homespun house has a flat rate fee of €6.50 always, no matter what you're buying, no matter how much you're buying, you're always paying €6.50. So all 3 shipments of the Harry Potter Yarn Club will be shipped together. They will be each individually wrapped so that you cannot see your yarn and labeled for each month. All Yarn and Charm Clubs have sold out. I'm very, very sorry about that. I know those of you who just watch the podcast and don't follow on Instagram weren't notified of that. So all of the Yarn and Charm Clubs have sold out. However, there are listings for Harry Potter Yarn Club, a 3-month subscription. And that will be shipping out mid-June. And you will be getting it, I imagine, Americans, the beginning of July, if not even the end of June. So you'll be getting July, August, and September quite quickly. And you'll have all of those goodies to open the first of each month or whenever you choose. I know some people have said that they probably won't be able to wait and will open every single month at once, which I just find adorable. A Homespun house will be moving shop to America in June. I mentioned that quite a few episodes ago, I believe, and I'm not sure if I've talked so much more about it since then. But we will be closing shop sometime between just around the 20th, May 20th is when we will no longer be stocking the shop. We're currently located in Berlin, Germany. We will not have any sort of European location anymore. So all of our shipping will be from America, which is where we will be living. I'm sorry for all of the European people who have sadness about that. I definitely get it. But we will still be dyeing yarn in America, and the shop will probably be open sometime between August and September. We are definitely looking forward to this new adventure. Yeah, will be definitely fun and exciting to be around family. Will be wonderful. I hope to be vlogging it. We'll see how that goes. I don't know how crazy it's going to be once it starts to get a little bit sooner. It has been really fantastic taking some time to chat about my knitting, the things I've been doing, what I've been up to, and I look forward to talking to you again. Until next time, bye.